latest situation as we now know it on the island of Grenada, which is a tiny island, as you know, in the southern Caribbean.
Pouring in more combat troops who arrived at the new airport, one wave following another.
Grenada.
Imagine waking up to the sound of helicopters and U.S. Marines landing on your beaches. It was October 1983, and for the people of Grenada, this was no ordinary day. The small Caribbean island suddenly found itself at the center of a U.S. military invasion. But why would the United States, the world's most powerful nation, target such a small island with just over 100,000 people? Was it really about rescuing American students? Or was there a hidden agenda? Let's uncover the truth behind the invasion of Grenada. Grenada, known as the Island of Spice for its nutmeg production, was a peaceful Caribbean nation until 1979, when Maurice Bishop, a socialist leader, came to power through a coup. His New Jewel movement, although not strictly Marxist-Leninist, aligned with Cuba and the Soviet Union, raising concern in Washington. The Cold War was in full swing, and the U.S. was wary of any communist or socialist influence in its backyard. Under Bishop's rule, Grenada received some U.S. funding to develop an international airport. However, as Cuban support grew and the Soviet Union became more involved, this airport became a focal point of U.S. concern. American officials feared the airport could be used by Soviet bombers, although Grenada insisted it was for tourism. In 1983, tensions within the Grenadian government escalated. Hardliners within the government, led by Bernard Coard, grew disillusioned with Bishop's leadership and felt he was not implementing enough socialist reforms. On October 19, 1983, a coup against Bishop was launched, and he was captured and executed along with several of his supporters. The island descended into chaos, with the new military regime imposing curfews and declaring martial law. The instability in Grenada prompted U.S. President Ronald Reagan to take action. Citing the need to protect nearly 1,000 American medical students at St. George's University, Reagan ordered the invasion. The official reason was a rescue mission, but many questioned whether the students were truly in danger. Reports from students on the ground suggested that most felt safe and were unaware of any immediate threat. On October 25, 1983, the U.S. launched Operation Urgent Fury. This was the first major U.S. military operation since the Vietnam War, involving over 7,000 U.S. troops, along with forces from Caribbean nations like Jamaica and Barbados. The invasion was swift, with airborne assaults, naval bombardments, and ground attacks. Grenadian forces and Cuban soldiers resisted, but the U.S. quickly gained control. Within a few days, the U.S. had secured the island. The Marxist government was overthrown, and a pro-American administration was installed. The medical students were evacuated, and dramatic footage of their rescue was broadcast to the U.S., shaping public opinion in favor of the invasion. However, the invasion came at a cost. Casualties included Grenadian civilians, Cuban soldiers, and American troops. The UN General Assembly condemned the invasion as a flagrant violation of international law, with 108 nations voting against it. While the United Kingdom, under Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, privately opposed the invasion, it did not publicly challenge the U.S. The invasion also drew criticism from many around the world who saw it as an overreach of U.S. power. While the official narrative focused on rescuing American students, many believed the invasion had deeper geopolitical motives. The Reagan administration was keen to demonstrate American strength during the Cold War, sending a clear message to the Soviet Union and its allies. The U.S. viewed Grenada as a key piece in the global struggle against communism, and the invasion was seen as an opportunity to assert dominance in the Caribbean region. The invasion was also seen as a way to restore American military prestige after the failures of the Vietnam War. The swift success of Operation Urgent Fury gave Reagan a boost in popularity and sent a message that the U.S. was committed to protecting its interests, even in its own hemisphere. The invasion of Grenada remains one of the most controversial U.S. military operations of the Cold War. In the U.S., Many hailed it as a quick and decisive victory that saved lives and restored order. President Reagan's approval ratings surged, and the operation reinforced his hardline stance against communism. However, the international community was divided. Many countries criticized the invasion, questioning its legality and the broader implications for international relations. The UN condemnation was particularly strong, with 108 nations voting against the action. For Grenada, the invasion led to the installation of a new government, but the scars of the conflict remain. The invasion of Grenada changed the course of U.S. foreign policy and left a lasting impact on the region. The U.S. helped establish a pro-American government in Grenada, providing economic aid and support for democratic elections in 1984. However, debates about the invasion's legality and its long-term consequences continue to this day. The invasion of Grenada remains a pivotal moment in Cold War history, marked by debates over the use of military force, the legality of intervention, and the long-lasting effects on international relations. The operation may have been a victory for the U.S., but for many it was a reminder of the complexities and consequences of foreign intervention. Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into untold stories of history.